A couple days ago, Zenless had one of their most surprising live streams for version 2.3, and it looks incredible. We've got 3 new characters coming to this banner, one of them being free. Lucia and Manato in the first half, then Yidhari in the second. There's a lot to unpack about all these characters, so we're gonna jump right into it. Each of them has more than one unique thing about them, and in my personal opinion, every player needs to be invested into version 2.3 of Zenless Zone Zero for the betterment of their account. I'll go more in depth on that later. Then on top of that, we have Sambi's rework coming in the same patch. New free skins, a brand new in-game mode, and the battle camera is finally making a return after an entire year. In today's video, we'll be breaking down all of that, which agents players should be investing into this patch, what this new in-game mode means, and some concerns veteran players have already expressed about the future of certain archetypes. Let's talk about it. As I mentioned earlier, I'll be skipping any of the story to focus on what I believe are the most important for my audience right now. Starting with Lucia, our next Ether support. Seems like a total nightmare up front. Similar to a unit like Fiorina from Genshin Impact, Lucia has 2 modes called Whim and Harmony that each provide their own unique buffs. She gains these dream points and eventually enters the dream state. This is basically an install. That install also activates her exclusive Ether Veil Wellspring, which will increase the maximum HP of all squad members. This is huge for all of our Rupture agents. During the dream stage, she consumes dream points and converts her Whim attacks into Harmony attacks. With what they showed during the live stream, this is basically turning all of her attacks into enhanced versions of themselves and possibly adds the ethereal summons. She also gains the ability to trigger aftershock attacks when off field, which is important for 2 different reasons. The first is that whenever she does either an aftershock or a harmony attack, she'll buff the entire party by activating the Dreamer's Nursery Rhyme. Say that 3 times fast. The second reason is more of a speculation, but we know the pattern by now. There are 0 Rupture agents that utilize aftershock attacks, and currently we only have 1 aftershock DPS being Sanbi. It's more than safe to assume that a future agent will be a Rupture/aftershock fused DPS. On top of that, Lucia has both a Whim and Harmony version of her skills. The EX skill version grants all squad members the Dark Breaker status, providing them with a big sheer force damage boost. That boost is dependent on Lucia's own HP, so don't throw away those random HP discs you rolled. This is also contributing to her own personal damage, which I believe shouldn't be neglected. Another reason I say this is because there's no reason for her to have a shortcut into basic 5 after using EX skill if she wasn't supposed to use it, which, mind you, apparently has a highly damaging final hit attached to it. Additionally, when there's a Rupture or Stun agent in your team, the Dark Breaker status will increase crit damage too. I think Lucia is being designed in a way where she excels as the support for Rupture agents, but can still be useful to a number of different agents in the game who can benefit from the universal damage boost. Sadly, as cool as her ultimate looks, it seems like there's very little reason to actually sit on the field and use it. 2 things I noticed though. There are multiple moments where a quick assist prompt happens, and I can confirm one of them is from the ultimate. The other one seems to be from either using an EX skill or whenever she enters the dream state. I can't line it up all the way because the devs like to blend all the footage together, but she at least has 2 quick assist prompts, which is a wonderful thing for her type of gameplay. So let's talk about Lucia's place in the meta. This character is about to be busted. Not even including how insane her W engine is, she alone is a huge benefit to Rupture agents as an entire archetype. Both Ishwin and Manato immediately benefit from what she provides. Yidhari comes in the following banner, and while she may not be the #1 support for the other DPS, she is still offering some strong damage boost, healing, crit damage, and general supportive capabilities. Coupled with what they're alluding to in the live stream, Lucia is more than likely not just a support. I believe Lucia is closer to an agent like Orphe than she is Astra. Not only does she provide insane buffs to the team, she also allegedly dishes out her own levels of damage that could potentially push the DPS of the entire team even higher, similar to Trigger's position in these Orphe supported teams, where the decision is Trigger or Astra and who offers what. Most calcs give Trigger anywhere between 10 to 15% of the team's total damage output, and then shave it off as insignificant. But that 10% could be the difference between a 65k and a 60k. One of them is just enough to score the kill. It might not be a lot, but damage is damage, and having a team of damage dealers who also happen to support or vice versa is always beneficial. Every player should be keeping an eye on this character. Next, we can jump right into Manato, aka Soul Bad Guy. Yes, I will be referring to him as Soul Bad Guy from this point forward and forever. He's the one that Twitter went crazy over, but now that he's a free A rank, the speculation is that he'll be a horrible unit. Need I remind anyone who thinks this that Nicole, Lucy, and Piper exist? Soul Bad Guy is an A rank Rupture agent that has the same HP draining mechanic as Yidhari, who also has the same mechanic as Hu Tao from Genshin Impact. Before you guys knew who Io was, I actually got copyright striked by Hoyoverse themselves because I was one of the only CCs telling players that Hu Tao would be broken during her beta. It wasn't really worth doing the leaks. From what I gathered, Soul Bad Guy is a free A rank that will reward players who learn how to use him to his fullest potential. What immediately caught my eye during the live stream was the fact he has input timing mechanics just like Soldier 11. Finally, the devs are bringing back more unique kits just like this. Manato's is slightly different though and has a little extra work. Where Soldier 11 needs to just time the basic input in order to get her flaming slashes, Manato needs to time the skill button input after the basic attack inputs. Because this is Zenless Zone 0, I don't expect this timing to be too tight, and you honestly might be able to just mash it out. It's more important that you just don't do it late. This seems to be the basic way to use him before activating his install. Funny, all three of these characters have an install. That install is called the Molten Edge state. You activate it by holding the EX skill to fill his meter. The live stream just so happened to show two separate functions for it. First is that his basic attacks become similar to Soldier 11's, where he unleashes a barrage of sick flame slashes against the enemy. He'll drain his HP in order to activate his core passive, which does the HP conversion thing, and in Rupture's case, this turns his fire damage into sheer damage, which we've already seen from Yi Xuan. The second thing is that it completely changes his skill button. Outside of install, his skill is an uppercut with a parry attached to it. That parry gives him back HP and has an extra multiplier behind it. Yes, he can juggle enemies with that. With the Molten Edge state, he gets a huge crash down as a new move, and of course, there's that infamous slam down move from his defensive parry. Soul Bad Guy is looking to be a great introduction to the Rupture archetype, and being completely free for players makes this even better. Now, those who didn't pick up Yi Xuan have the opportunity to grab Lucia and Manato, then continue saving for the next big thing on their account. I expect a lot of awesome combos with him and Lucia popping up in the near future. Lastly, we have Yidhari, an S-rank Ice Rupture agent, and she's my most anticipated of the bunch. A mostly brand new style of play who also specializes in the HP draining mechanic. Just like the others, all of her ice damage dealt will be considered sheer force, and she actually has Hu Tao's mechanic. The lower her HP, the more damage she deals, and whenever she does this while her additional passive is activated, she increases her crit damage and reduces the damage taken. A great benefit for her high risk, high reward playstyle. Interestingly enough, Yidhari also has her own Ether Veil ability. After her fully charged basic attack or EX skill, she'll summon 4 ice tentacles from the ground that deal additional damage in an AoE area. This also counts as an EX special attack, which is interesting but incredibly useful for the Yunquei 4-piece she'll most likely be running. Her basic attack seems to be where the bulk of her kit is though, so let's break that down. 1, it's a basic 3-chain attack, just like the hammer in Monster Hunter, and after the 3rd hit, she will heal herself by what looks to be about 5, maybe 10%. 2, of course, just like Monster Hunter, she has the legendary hammer charge, and it has 3 stages as well. This is more than likely where she does most of her HP draining to activate her passives. Now this is just speculation, but I'm assuming that each charge has a different animation and property. They also made it so she can link her BA3 after a 3-stage charge, helping you recover some HP while continuing to dish out a ton of damage. Another thing is that while she's charging, you'd think she's completely unprotected, but nope. Her tentacles act as a defensive mechanism, just like a Kraken, and will parry incoming attacks while also whiplashing them with a counterattack before you unleash your level 3. What I love is that they didn't forget about her skill button either. Regular skill is an uppercut, but EX skill is a double uppercut that sends an icy mist wave forward. So instead of an AoE, we have one of our first agents that use a singular lane type attack. It also restores HP after use. Then it has a parry property extremely close to Yi Xuan's that triggers something called a surging cold effect whenever it's hit. However, when she hits a stunned enemy, that will activate the crushing pursuit effect. Triggering either of these effects will instantly max out her charge level, meaning you can turn your defense into an immediate instance of your most powerful attack. On top of that, when Ether status is activated, her EX skill gains a new property. If she launches an EX skill, she keeps the parry uppercut attack, but then lunges forward with another uppercut into a brutal slam down. That move also recovers HP. Then they had the audacity to give her a special function once her decibels max out. Anytime she lands a level 3 charge, EX skill, or chain attack, she'll consume 3000 decibels to automatically activate her own Ether Veil. This increases all agents' max HP on the squad, meaning her Veil plus Lucia's Veil is drastically boosting their damage performance at the same time. Then her basic attack charging speed along with the rate she drains HP increases. That's insane. The final thing that they talked about was her ultimate being a massive ice AoE technique, but something particular they mentioned was it can only be activated once. Is that once per decibel buildup, per Veil activation, or once during the entire fight? That's a crazy thing to just leave out there in the open. Overall, I'm excited about Yidhari even more than I was about Yi Xuan. She has a simple game plan, which is pretty much to just smash everything in front of her, just like the hammer in Monster Hunter. But there's obviously some serious strategy that goes behind how you use this agent, when to charge, what level you use, how to maximize her EX skills, the Veil and the different cold effects, then finally the weird one-time ultimate. There's so much to unpack that I just have to get my hands on her. Take that how you will. Now let's talk about which 4 characters are going to be on the upcoming banners. In the first half, we have Lucia and Vivian. Personally, I'm going to advise more players to go for Lucia over Vivian for the previously stated reasons in the video. But if in the event you are trying to finish out your anomaly teams and Vivian is the last piece you need, then she might be your best play. The only reason I'm slightly against the Vivian pull on this particular banner is because I believe Lucia offers too much for any given player to just pass up. Manato is free. That's a perfect Lucia pair. Yi Xuan has been missing a dedicated support, and now Lucia is here. Yidhari is next, and that's clearly Lucia's best friend. Then the fact that Lucia has aftershock attacks, there's absolutely no way they gave her that without the intention of a future Rupture agent releasing that deals aftershock DPS. I think this character is more of a must pull than Astra, but maybe I'm just blowing smoke on my ass. In the second half will be Yidhari and Jafufu. For older players who already grabbed Jafufu but skipped Yi Xuan, this is a perfect situation because they have an easier time grabbing Lucia and Yidhari. Of course, I don't believe Jafufu will be her only partner, and with the fact Lucia deals aftershock attacks, Trigger might be a power play in this comp. I'll know more once I get Yidhari's CE server. For now, I believe the second half is a much safer choice for players. Make the decision based on your own account. If you want Yidhari, go for it, and if you don't, then skip. Anyone focusing on completing their Rupture comps needs to put a lot of focus into this patch. We are absolutely entering the Rupture meta until further notice. That's just how gacha games go. No, this is not eliminating other archetypes like Anomaly or Attack. As a player, especially free to play, your job before getting to this banner should have been securing every piece possible to make sure your accounts were as strong as possible to have zero issues against the new bosses. We already know Sambi is performing better than she ever has against more enemies than she could before. Attack comps are not dead. And just because a Deadly Assault buff shills Rupture, that doesn't mean you're forced to pull the new unit to clear. That's bullshit. Lastly, let's speed blitz some of the new quality of life changes and additional updates coming into the game. The new skin for Vivian is a hot topic. Personally, I don't think the 180 pull requirement to get it for free is a problem, but I do think it's a lot of pulls compared to just buying the skin outright. I get that players who are pulling are essentially being given a free skin without having to spend extra money, and that's probably what their goal was. However, they could have easily made the requirement 90 pulls or something and then just called it a day. Kumano, Manato. Sambi buffs are here. I thought we'd have to wait longer, but our girl Ambi is getting that big booba buff at the same time we get the new update. There's a new chess event using ethereals that's coming into the game, which I actually think is really cool, and personally speaking, this needs to be permanently added to the arcade. High key, low key. The battle camera event is finally returning. I need everyone to take some badass pictures of your favorite agent, then post them in my Discord, because the last time we had this event, we were posting some crazy screenshots on Twitter. Last thing I wrote down about the quality of life changes was disk drives are easier to filter. There's a question mark behind that sentence, by the way. They also highlight the beneficial stats for agents now on the disk, which is huge for helping new players. W dev team for that. The battery thing is whatever, I guess. I don't think anyone actually had issues converting batteries on this screen, and I would have preferred them to just make something that gives us more batteries, or straight up reduce the cost of farming. This battery changes ass. The in-game builder is more visually effective. Again, huge W for the new players trying to learn the game. Overall, this is an amazing patch I'm looking forward to. As much as I love Anomaly, Rupture might actually be my destined playstyle. The combination of strong offense and great defense, you really can't lose. Then, as much as I've been investing into my Sambi lately, to see her finally getting this ridiculous buff with new animations and moves, chef's kiss. But that's how I feel about the patch. You let me know how you feel about the upcoming patch in Zenless in the comments down below. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Mail you later.